Claudia. I'm a self-proclaimed bookworm. My boyfriend, not so much. So I started summarizing entire books for him. Dramatic plot twists, romantic betrayals, magical quests, all of it. Basically, he gets the story without reading a single page. And now I'm doing the same for you. Welcome to The Whole Story, the channel where I read the book and then tell you the whole story, literally. Fantasy, romance, literary fiction. If it has yearning, magic, or emotional damage, I've got you covered. I'll tell you the whole story in 30 minutes or less, spoilers included. Yes, I will tell you who dies, who cries, and who should have just gone to therapy. So, if you like books, but you don't have the time to read all of them, or you just want to know what happens without the emotional labor, hit subscribe and let's write some endings together. Yeah, because life's too short to read 700 pages of slow burn, unless you're into it. I kinda am. So there's a song I really like by Bastille called Doom Days. And there's a line there that says, "How'd you look so perfect? You must have your portrait in the attic." And I always thought, okay, that's a bit random. And then I realized that it's actually a reference to a book. And I thought, okay, how many references are out there of books that I haven't read? I need to rectify the situation right now. So I found out that it actually is referring to a book called The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. So I went ahead and read the book, and it was very interesting. And I thought maybe you are in the same boat and you've heard references of this book and you didn't read the book, but maybe you want to know the story. So that's what we're going to do today. The Picture of Dorian Gray is a book written by Oscar Wilde in the 19th century, so 1890, and the story also takes place in that time. It is Oscar Wilde's only proper novel. The rest that he wrote was poems and plays, dramas, and stuff like that. And it is a Gothic novel, kind of scary. So the story starts with Lord Henry and Basil Howard. They're at Basil's house. Basil is a painter, and he's painting a portrait of Dorian Gray. Lord Henry starts to asking about this young man that he's painting, commenting about how beautiful he looks, how young, how pure. There's a lot in this book about, you know, beauty, vanity, decadence, duplicity. It has a lot of these big topics in there. It's quite interesting read. It's also a very short read, but Basil is waiting for Dorian Gray to come into his house so he can continue the painting. And they start talking about it. Lord Henry asks him about him, and he asks if he's going to exhibit the painting when it's done, because it's almost done and it looks beautiful. And Basil says, no, I couldn't never exhibit this. And he's asking why. And he basically says that he's put too much of himself into this painting, and he's afraid that if he exhibits it, people will be able to see and to realize something about the painter and not just the subject that he's painting. And he explains how from the moment he first met Dorian Gray, his presence had a big impact on his life, and it changed him from the moment that he first saw him. He felt afraid and happy and anxious all at the same time. And basically Dorian Gray is his muse, and he's changed his art completely, his way of looking at art and paintings, and it's really made a big impact on him. So he's really afraid that everything that he's putting into this painting would be very obvious to anyone that looks at it, that, you know, Basil has certain feelings towards the painting and Dorian Gray. So he's very reluctant to show this to other people, but Lord Henry's his friend. And when Dorian Gray actually comes in to continue with sitting for the painting, Basil says to Lord Henry, please do not ruin this young man. Do not influence him. Do not fill him with your thoughts and your ideas. He's so pure. He's so young. Just let him be. I mean it. Do not corrupt this man. And guess what he does? So Dorian Gray comes in, they finally meet, Lord Henry and him, and they talk a little bit. He sits for the painting, and within an hour, Lord Henry is already corrupting him. He's already telling him about how the senses are part of the soul, and the soul are what makes the senses, and the connection between beauty and youth, and that all his power is because all his power and all his beauty is because he's young, and the moment that he loses the youth, he's going to lose the beauty and he's going to lose the power. and all the things that he can have from life and everything that he can aspire to is based on his beauty and his youth. And he basically makes him think about his sins and his shameful thoughts, and starts to, kind of like press buttons to see what's going to stir him, like exactly what Basil told him not to do. And because of this, and he's just like kind of like trying to guess what to say, and he literally says, I just shot an arrow into the sky, maybe it met his mark. And it did, because after that conversation, Dorian Gray gets really thoughtful, and he actually sits for the whole painting without talking. And he's really like, wow, like this person knows me so much, and he's just given voice to all of my darkest thoughts. And Dorian Gray started off as just a very vain, pretty young man, and at the end of this day, he actually becomes a lot more preoccupied with his youth and his influence and his power and being good and all of these things. So it really, like, this meeting really changes him. And when Basil finally finishes the painting, when he goes to see it, he's just so happy, right? He looks at himself and he's like, wow, like I am so beautiful. Like, he's admiring his own beauty and his own youth. And he realizes, because of everything that he's been thinking about for these past few hours, he realizes, like, this painting is never going to be older than what it is right now. I'm going to grow old and go on with my life. I'm going to feel and see the changes of age and sin in my face, but the painting will always stay as it is, pure and untouched. Oh, how I wish it was the other way around. I would do anything to trade this. I would give anything to trade places with this painting. I would give my soul. Dun, dun, dun. So then we skip to like a month afterwards, and you can already see how his personality is changing a little bit. He's been spending a lot of time with Lord Henry. And one time he comes over to his house and he's like, oh, Lord Henry, I am in love. I'm in love, and I've met the person that I'm going to spend my life with. Her name is Sybil Vane. Like, okay, sure. Who is this Sybil Vane? Sybil Vane. She's an actress. She's playing at the theater. I've been there every night to watch her. She is so talented. She has a genius, and she's amazing. She's playing a different heroine every day, and she's like all these heroines personified. One day she's Juliet, another day she's another character and another character. But I believe all of her characters. She's so enticing and she's amazing, and I've been talking to her, and she doesn't know my name. She knows it's Dorian, but she doesn't know my name. She's called me Prince Charming, and I've decided to marry her. And Lord Harry is really like, oh, this young man doesn't know anything, and he has all these ideas about what women are, what men are. And he says something that's very interesting, like men get married when they're tired, women get married because they're bored, something like that. I don't know. It's a really interesting line. And he also, like, he looks down on women like a lot. He says, like, they have nothing to say, like there's nothing interesting in their life, and they have nothing of interest to say. They just say it very charmingly, and that's all that they're meant to do. They're just an object, something to have and to be there. And even though they're independent now, they just want to be bossed around, and they just want to be dominated by a man, and that's why they get married. Really interesting ideas there. But Dorian Gray is really set in his ideas. He loves this woman, he wants to marry her, and he actually invites Lord Henry and Basil to go watch her play tomorrow night together. And they agree. They want to go see her. Of course, we'll support you. We're your friends. We want you to be happy. That same night, Dorian Gray goes back to the theater like every other night. But afterwards, when he goes to the backstage to see Sybil Vane, they actually kiss for the first time. And it's a very exciting moment, like they're both so overwhelmed by their emotions, and she's so much in love, like she just falls down on her knees and kisses his hand, and she's feeling all this purity of their love. And then later on, she's talking to her family as well, and she's talking to her mother, saying how Prince Charming is going to take care of her and is going to keep her safe. And her brother is there as well, James. He's a sailor. He's about to take off, but he does say to the mother, like, you need to be careful with Sybil and this Prince Charming. Please promise me that you're going to take care of Sybil, because if this man does anything to hurt my sister, I will kill him. Like, I will go and make sure that he hurts. Not ominous at all. The following day, the three gentlemen, they go out to the theater, they sit down, and Dorian Gray is so excited to show his friends how amazing Sybil Vane is. She comes on stage and she is horrible. Like, she is super fake, super stiff. Her emotions are not believable at all. She's very exaggerating, and it doesn't go well at all, like to the point where the audience starts to leave after the second act because they're just thinking like she's such a bad actress. And both Lord Henry and Basil also leave. So Dorian Gray is very upset about this, like, what the hell happened? Like, she is a great actress, I've been seeing her every day. So after the play is over, he goes to backstage and he's super angry. He's like, what have you done? Like, what is this? Like, you're actually a terrible actress. And she's smiling. She's so happy. She's so proud of herself. He's like, what is wrong with you? Like, why did you do such a bad job? She's like, don't you see? It was all for you. It's all because of you, because all my life I've been living in this dream world, believing like that my reality was their reality. I really believed that I was Juliet and I could feel Juliet's emotions. So when I went on stage, I could feel everything, right? And the stage was beautiful, the characters were beautiful, everything was so nice. But now that I know what real love is, because you have shown me and I know what real life is, everything pales in comparison. So when I got on stage, I couldn't fake it anymore. Everything seemed so ugly, all the lines seemed so fake, because now that I know what true love is, I can't fake it anymore. It was all for you, and it's all because of you. And Dorian Gray, he's not happy at all. And he's so upset. He's like, how could you do this? I thought you were a genius. I thought you were so talented. You've killed our love. She's like, no, what do you mean? What are you doing? He's like, yes, you've killed our love. I don't want to marry you anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. I'm never going to talk to you again, ever. Leave me. And you're like, okay. Like, this is a man that was ready to marry her the day before, but sure. So he goes home. And he already has the portrait, it's finished, and it's sitting in his living room. And he goes to look at the portrait to admire it and how beautiful he is. And he's always like feeling like jealousy and anger about like towards the painting, that the painting is so beautiful and perfect and he will just grow older. So when he actually pulls the screen from the portrait, he sees that the portrait has changed. He can see a line of cruelty around the mouth. And he's like, okay, this is weird. And he picks up a mirror and he's comparing himself with the portrait, and he can see that his face looks different than the portrait. The portrait has now some marks of cruelty and sin in his face. And he's like, okay, crazy idea, but maybe my wish actually happened. No one can know this. No one can see the painting. I need to keep this secret. So he covers it up, doesn't tell anyone about it. And he just thinks like, okay, this is so nice. That means like I'm gonna be young forever. Great. The next day, Lord Henry comes by his house and is like, oh, didn't you hear? Sybil Vane is dead. So turns out after Dorian Gray left the backstage, after they had the conversation, she ingested something. They're calling it an accident, but obviously it's not. So she was so distraught with everything that she actually decided to commit suicide. And Dorian Gray is really upset for like half an hour, and then he's like, why should I be upset? Like, these emotions, they're not good for me. I should just move on with my life. Like, I have nothing to do with that. It's not my fault. I shouldn't be bothering my pretty head with these negative thoughts. So I'm just gonna put it out of my head. And that is it. Like, that's the last straw. From then on, it just goes way downhill. Basil actually comes by his house a few days later to console him about the death of Sybil Vane. He's like, I don't care about Sybil Vane. Why should I care? It's like, are you serious? So you can see how his whole personality and everything is already being twisted, and he's already becoming this cruel man, and just feeding his ambitions and his negative emotions instead of trying to be pure and good. Because for a second there, he was actually saying, like before he found out that she died, he was thinking like, no, I want to be a good person. I want to be a good man. I will go back there. I'll talk to Sybil Vane. I promised that I would marry her, so I will do the right thing. And then after talking with Lord Henry, he makes him believe that because Sybil Vane was never really alive, like she never actually participated in life and she was never a part of life, she never really died, so he shouldn't feel bad about her dying. So again, Lord Henry is corrupting his ideas, and from then on it just goes downhill. He realizes that no one can ever see the painting. Basil actually tries to see the painting once, and he forces him to say his own secrets instead, because he wants to share his secret about the fact that the portrait is growing old. But he convinces Basil to tell his secret instead, where you find out that when he was saying this whole thing about admiring Dorian Gray and him being his muse, it's actually like an unveiled way of saying that he was in love with Dorian Gray. So he actually tells him like how he worshipped him and how he was so attracted to him. And you're like, okay, so it's not actually spelled out, but you do understand that he was in love with him and he was sexually attracted to him, which is actually interesting because it mirrors a little bit Oscar Wilde and his life, because I don't know how much you know about Oscar Wilde, but Oscar Wilde was homosexual, and he was also a very big personality in the London society and everything. So there are some parallels between the characters that you see in this book and Oscar Wilde. Dorian Gray is convinced that no one can ever look at this painting, no one can ever know what he's done, so he hides it up in the attic. There you go. So he hides it out in the attic for like 5 years. Everything is just going to shit. He is becoming a terrible person. He's very cruel. He's very mean. Everyone that he talks with just kind of becomes worse. Like they become a worse version of themselves. Every one of his friends starts to commit sins and crimes and not being pure anymore. It's like he's corrupting everyone around him. But every time people look at him, they see a beautiful young man. So there's this contrast and the duplicity between him looking so perfect and beautiful and pure and doing all these horrible things. So years later, when Basil actually goes to confront him and say, like, I'm hearing a lot of rumors and I'm hearing a lot of things all around London about all the terrible things that you're doing and what a terrible influence you are, but I can't believe any of them because look at you, you're so beautiful, you know, and the only way that I could ever know if this is true or not is if I could look into your soul, but I'm not God, I can't look into your soul. And Dorian Gray's like, okay, you know what, you want to see my soul? I'll show you my soul. So after all these years, for the first time ever, he decides to show someone the portrait. So he takes Basil up to the attic and he shows him the portrait, and Basil is shook. He looks at the portrait and it's not the same painting at all. The man in the painting is old. Has wrinkles. He's cruel. He's like, he just looks really bad. And he's like, how is this possible? Like, I didn't paint this. Like, what happened? So Dorian Gray actually confesses what he did, right? That he kind of sold his soul to switch places with the portrait. And he becomes so upset at Basil that he gets really enraged and angered. So he just picks up a knife that is there sitting in the attic, and he goes to Basil and stabs him in the neck several times until he's dead. So now he has a problem. He has a dead body in the attic, blood everywhere. He needs to get rid of this. He actually blackmails one of his friends to come and clean it up and to get rid of the body. Of course, the friend doesn't want to help him, but they're not even friends anymore, but he blackmails him and he just ends up doing it, gets rid of the body, gets rid of the jacket and everything. And no one finds out because that night Basil was on his way to take a train to go to Paris for 6 months. So no one really thinks it's weird that Basil's gone, right? They just think he went to Paris and forgot about them. So he never gets caught. Fast forward another few years. He is still a terrible man. He's doing all this weird stuff. He's, getting involved with crime and thieves, and he's really just become a terrible person. He goes to an opium den, And while he's there, he sees a sailor, and someone calls him out like, "Oh, like you are Prince Charming, aren't you?" And the sailor wakes up and goes to him like, oh, "It's you!" So he chases him around the dark alley and actually pulls out a revolver and says like, "You are Prince Charming. You are the man that my sister was supposed to marry, and she killed herself because of you." And Dorian Gray's like, "What?" Like, so turns out it's James. So James Vane has been looking for like, I don't know, 18 years, has been looking for this Prince Charming because he knows that that's the reason his sister died, and he had vowed that he would kill the man who hurt her. So he finally found Dorian Gray, and he's saying like, like, say your piece. This is it. This is my mission. I'm going to end your life. And Dorian Gray is so afraid, but then he's like, wait a second, I have a way out of this. It's like, but look at my face. How old ago was this? Like, how long ago did your sister die? Oh, it was 18 years now. You see, like, there's no way I could have been the killer. Like, I'm so young. He's like, that's true. You look like you're 20 years old. I'm so sorry. Like, wow, my bad. Like, I'm so sorry. Please go ahead. Like, so close. And then actually, and Dorian leaves, and a few days later, like, he actually becomes a bit paranoid because he's thinking that he's being chased by James Vane. Because afterwards, James actually realized that he did have the right man, and he sold his soul to the devil, and that's why he looks like that. But he is the right man, so he starts to chase him again, and he's like hiding in the bushes at his house. And the Dorian Gray and his friends, they're all like shooting game and birds and stuff like that, and they're trying to shoot a hare, like a rabbit. And one of the men, like, he actually shoots, and they hear the scream of the animal and a man scream. And when they go there, they actually find James Vane hiding in the bushes. So he was hiding to try to catch Dorian Gray, but because they were shooting animals and whatever, he gets hit and he actually dies. So Dorian's like, oh, perfect. I have nothing more to worry about. No one's ever going to find out about anything that I did. No one's going to find out that I murdered Basil. No one's going to find out everything that I've done throughout the city. No one's going to find out that guy that I blackmailed killed himself because of me, because he killed himself because he was so feeling so guilty about what he'd done. No one's going to find out that I had anything to do with Sybil Vane. I'm like, amazing, I'm perfect, like, I'm never gonna feel any punishment. But then he goes a bit crazy, right? And he's just spiraling a little bit. And it's been 18 years, and he is always so afraid that someone's gonna find the portrait. So every like 2 seconds, he's going up to the attic to have a look, and it's locked with a key, and only he has the key. So he's been keeping this secret for so long, and it's really eating up at him. And this one night, he finally goes back up to the portrait, and he's looking at the portrait, and he's like, how is this possible? Like, I've become someone that I don't recognize. Like, I'm not pure anymore. I'm not good. I've done so many things, and I've been having no punishment at all. Like, this is not fair. And it's all because of this portrait. Maybe I could have been a good person. Maybe I wouldn't have kept my beauty and my youth, but I would have kept my purity, and I would have been a good person. But instead, this is what I am today, and it's all because of the painting. So then he starts to feel all this hatred for the painting and for the portrait. And he's like, it's all starting here. If it wasn't for this portrait, I would have never made that wish, and I would have never led this life that I did. And he picks up the knife again that is still there from when he killed Basil like years ago. Picks up the knife and decides to stab and destroy the painting. But when he picks up the knife and he slashes at the painting, everything kind of goes dark and you don't know what happened, and you just hear a scream. And then the perspective changes to like people walking by the street and the police, and they're like, what's happening? What's happening? We don't know what's happening. The servants of the house, they're also not sure what happened. The door is locked, so they can't go in, but they did hear a scream from the attic. And then after some time, they finally make it inside. And when they go inside the attic, what they see is a beautiful, beautiful painting on the wall of a beautiful young man. And they see a dead body on the floor with a knife stuck in his heart. And the man is so old and so haggard that they don't recognize him because it doesn't look like their master. It doesn't look like Dorian Gray. the only reason that they recognize him is because of his rings. And that's how you find out that when he actually stabbed the painting, he was actually stabbing himself, because the painting is himself, and he had switched spaces. And when he finally died and he finally reached this epitome of emotion that he decided, I don't want this anymore, even though he stabbed the painting, he was actually stabbing himself. So he killed himself, and that's when it reverted back. So that's why he's the old man lying on the floor. So, you know, it's a very short story, but it's so full of meaning, and everything is making you think about things and what it means to be good and what it means to be pure and how you impact other people. And it's so curious how, like, all of this is because of Lord Henry. Like, he is the real villain in the story, because he has been corrupting Dorian Gray since the very first moment that he met him, right? And even throughout all of these years where things were going down, Lord Henry was always there being like, oh, you could never do anything wrong. Like, you're so perfect. You're so great. Look at how beautiful you are. Clearly, like, that's a clear meaning of your purity of heart, you know? So really interesting read. If you have some time, give it a go. The way that Oscar Wilde writes is very interesting. And I think that's it for today. Now you know, when they say hide your portrait in the attic, you know, now you know where it comes from. All right, see you next time.